Is this you trying to make coins but have zero skills? Well, in this video I'll be covering some of the best money making methods with zero requirements. First and probably the most underrated early game money making method is the rift. And the first one making over 10 mil per hour is farming Wilted Berberis. And the only item you'll need is the wand of farming. Then go to the dread farm and break the dead bushes with particles. Once you break them, the particle will move on to another bush that you can then break to get Wilted Berberis. Also, to make it easier, you can use the Sky Honey mod to get this glow effect. Also, I tested it and the bigger plot may actually be marginally better, as you have to wait for 5 seconds for the smaller plots to regen. Now once you've done that, you can either craft the Wilted Berberis bunch, which can go from anywhere between 140k to 200k, but it's kinda hard to sell as it's sold on the auction house, and honestly it doesn't really have a lot of uses. Apart from that, you can also get Berberis fuel injectors that sell for around 2.6 mil, allowing you to make over 13 mil per hour, as it's the second best fuel source for the best AFK minion in the game. Now, if you don't want to farm Wilted Berberis, I recommend you farm Caducous stems that can then be used to craft Caducous Feeders worth around 5 million coins each. You need to break them starting from the top to bottom. You can just jump over the bushes to break them and buy grand experience bottles from the mage emissary, and you can easily make over 10 mil per hour from this. Next, we've got the Bluetooth ring. For this, you'll need 2 items. A self-recursive pickaxe, that's a direct upgrade to your sword if you've just arrived here, and a frozen water bungee, crafted by using 8 nullified metal obtained from auto nulls, and the frozen water found in this area. Now to get to this place, you'll need to max out your armor with living metal armor spawns that can be crafted by mining lapis found in the cave. Now it's best if you've got someone else to do it with, because both of you can get the rewards and it's way faster. But if you don't have friends, which is the reality for most of you I assume, then you can join my Discord. Then you can use the frozen water bungee once, break the block, then use the bungee again. Also, don't get greedy and go for 2 blocks, cause if the snake escapes, you'll get nothing. Again, doing it with someone else is way faster. Now the other rift related money making method is farming motes. Now the best way to farm motes is through these guys in the Stilgore Chateau, as they drop melons that can be compacted and sold to the mote scrubber for a ton of coins. Then once you have a decent amount of motes, like 9 mil, go to the barrier street and bid on the rift prism. You should be able to get it for around 9 mil, and honestly you could even snag it for cheaper if you wait for Dia, cause she allows 50 people to obtain it instead of 25, allowing you to make over 25 mil per hour, which is probably the best early game money making method at the moment. Also, you can actually do this puzzle without Discord. Shout out to D3RP13 for this, but basically the puzzle won't change unless the hopper guy quits. So the beacon guy can just give colors row by row, making it much easier. Next, if you want to make a few million coins easily and gain some knowledge, you can get some reflection books that cost around 5,000 motes and 16 shadow cruxes. Now, based on my experience, you can easily get over 620 shadow cruxes per hour, allowing you to buy at least 39 book bundles. But you also need to get the 195,000 motes, which excluding some earned while farming shadow cruxes should take around 30 minutes in the Stilgore Chateau. So even after including that little bit of downtime, you should be able to make 23 mil per hour. Also, if you want to make the method better, make sure you max out your Crux chrono trigger, as it allows you to get more Crux from each shadow. Also, it might be faster if you do it with someone else, cause loot sharing. Next, we've got half-eaten carrots. That can then be used to make exportable carrots, which can then be sold on the bazaar for a decent amount of coins. Also, to make actual coins, you'll need the carrot on a stick. That requires tier 4 half-eaten carrot collection and the string and stick from the Mirrorverse. Now, based on my experience, you can easily get around 35 to 40 stacks of exportable carrots per hour. But the rift transfer thing has a limit of 14 items at once, meaning you need to re-enter the rift multiple times to get all the stuff. And if you don't have a rift prism, which I assume most of you don't, can cost a decent amount of coins, especially if you're not in the mage faction. And besides that, you'll also need to farm the scribe and volt cruxes. For the volt, just hit it a few times, then go hit another volt once it starts using its lightning. For scribes, try to stay away from buildings, because the coal can sometimes glitch. Also, make sure you have a fully upgraded crux chronostasis for the crux fortune. Anyways, with this strat, you can easily make 19 to 20 mil per hour. Now I'm absolutely trash at Vampire Slayer, but according to some anecdotes, T5 Vampire Slayer is actually kinda decent for coins, but it's very reliant on your ping and skill. But getting to that point takes a decent amount of time, so we can't really call the rift a zero requirement method. The other thing you can try is Bingo, which is a special event that happens on the first week of every month, and it barely has any requirements, while still making you a ton of coins if you just get bingo points and buy the talismans. Also, if you're active on the forums, you can simply follow the advice sent there, and you can experience the most fun part of Skyblock. Starting over, but it still has some requirements, so it's not a zero requirement method. Apart from that, you can also make coins by bazaar flipping. Now, here's every form of bazaar flipping I know of. You can create buy orders for certain items and sell them if they have good volume and decent margin. You can use the bazaar notifier mod to make this easier. You can buy certain items from the NPC and sell them to the bazaar, or you can even do the opposite sometimes. You can also create buy orders for items that you think might go up in value, then sell them later on when they do. But I forgot to tell you one thing. To unlock the bazaar, you need to be at least Skyblock level 7, so it's not a zero requirement method. Now the final method, which allows you to make billions of coins and actually has zero requirements, is auction house flipping, as you can snipe items going for cheap through the bin or bid on items to then resell them. And did I mention it as zero requirements? But how am I supposed to get coins to auction house flip? Well, can anyone give me coins?